Hello, everybody. Welcome to Nintendo Expansion Pass here on Boss Rush Network. I'm your host, the enlightened, excited Andrew V. Joining me is the one, the only Bossman himself, Mr. Corey Dirrig. Hello, good sir.
Hello. It is good to be here.
And it's good to be watching the Browns game.
I know. Don't get me started right now. Okay. They're playing the Steelers, and we're up 9, which is fine in most cases with 5 minutes left. But we blew a 13-point lead with a minute 50 on Sunday, so I just don't want to, oh, sack, yeah! Sorry, got excited. I had the game on the separate monitor over here. It's the Amazon Thursday night game of the week, okay? I'm trying to... They're also playing the Steelers, and man, dude, if we don't win this game, I'm going to be really concerned. How are you, Ed?
I am doing great. As you speak about football, that's kind of how I am when I think about music and everything. Like I hear an album or I hear lyrics, I kind of go all out to be like explain that album and this artist and their music and stuff, and I just get excited. And knowing good and well is something that people don't listen to or anything.
Yeah, Cleveland sports is really good right now, so like the expectations are higher than maybe I should make them. But the Cavs are going to be great. They just traded for a great player. The Browns are statistically on paper good, although last week was interesting. And the Guardians are going to win the division. The magic number they have circled is 6 games, but they can clinch it by winning 7, and I think they have 13 games left. So it's a good time to be a Cleveland sports fan, although nobody cares about baseball in this town, and they're probably the best of the 3 teams. So,
oh wow.
Dude, they're on the verge of winning the division, and they only draw a crowd of like 8,000 to 10,000 people a night, which like may seem like a lot, but in the 90s when the Indians were going to the World Series in like 95 and 97, they had that entire stadium sold out for like 7 or 8 years in a row, and that stadium holds like 70 or 80,000 people. So... It's yeah, and tickets right now are actually relatively cheap. They're only like $10 or $15 a piece. So like you could go up there and like, but I'm not going up to Cleveland. No, pass. Look, they make the at-home watching experience so good for sports now. Like I don't know why anybody leaves their house.
I think for some people it's more of a tradition thing, getting out the house with the kids.
That's fine. No, I mean I get it. Like you want to go hang out with your friends and tailgate and get a beer and a hot dog or whatever, like those types of things. That's fine, right? And Browns tailgating is like just hilariously over the top sometimes. But people were racing go-karts the other day. I saw, but. In the Muni lot, so it's just, man, I just do not want to go to Cleveland. I'm not one of those people that wants to tailgate or party or anything. I want to watch the game, and I want to take like $100 with me to get food and drinks and parking, and get maybe eat before or right after, like one of those things. But
which is weird. Well, not weird, but like Wrigley Field here in Chicago or close to Chicago. You literally can take the train to the city, get on the red line till you get to, they call it Boys Town. Get on that in that area, walk down to Wrigley Field and go watch the game. Because every time I go, I get on the red line, and stuff, I see all the Cub fans. And then if I'm just going to Chicago, just to hang out, I would literally see a bunch of Cub fans from here get on the train going down there. And I think it's different from Milwaukee, but for the Cubs games, they still stay packed. They still get a lot of people going there. I haven't been to the White Sox though. I haven't been to the field yet.
Welcome to Nintendo Expansion Pass, everybody. What's bigger in Chicago? Is the Cubs or the White Sox? I mean, they're both big, I
So
think, but
the Cubs are big. It's a rival. It was supposed to be a rivalry between the Cubs and the White Sox, but the Cubs are big because they won more uh championships than the White Sox have.
yeah.
Um,
It's just the White Sox.
so
The White Sox are like the Guardians. I keep calling the Indians. It's still really hard to make that transition. I mean,
mm,
but they're Cleveland's main rivals are the White Sox. But like I think the White Sox are big because we play them a lot. You know, their division
yeah,
in the division, they're always here. Like, but I know like the Cubs are just like this historically great team. So
yeah, and see, the St. Louis Cardinals are the rivalry between the Cubs. Because uh if the Cubs, I think if the Cubs don't win or get in the playoffs, and St. Louis is,
hmm
the people will be like, "Boo, St. Louis!" They literally will boo St. Louis.
yeah,
Uh, but that I think it was a couple like I think for 2016 or 17, whenever the Cubs run last time. So I was coming back from South Bend, Indiana, from meeting Larry for the first time,
hmm
and the Cubs was in the playoff and they won the game. I literally had to hurry up and beat Chicago traffic before it became a nightmare. And
hmm
I was actually able to get home. But yeah, when the Cubs won their baseball game last year, it was packed. Like for like a whole like for the whole week, it was packed.
yeah.
The same thing happens with the Bulls back in the '90s,
hmm
where Pippen and Jordan, when they were winning their wings, it was like literally packed.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Oh, we just intercepted the ball. Oh, what? What? Come on, he caught that. Come on. Can you challenge that? Sorry, something big just happened. This is gonna be the worst audio experience for people. No, it's always like oh no, he was out of bounds. I don't care. Give it to us. That was a nice catch though. Yeah, he was out of bounds right there. Um, but yeah, Cleveland. It's always been like the Chicago teams have always been our biggest rivalry, except for like football. It's Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh
Mm.
doesn't have a good baseball team or a basketball team, so Chicago's kind of been the default. Um, so yeah, I mean it's sports, man, sports.
Which is kind of weird when it comes to video games in a sense. Because I know you
Here's the thing. I would like to play Madden every year, but Madden hasn't been
Mhm.
good for a while. And I would like to play FIFA, but it's the same game as 3 years ago on Switch, so I don't play that. The only game that's worth playing right now is NBA 2K
Mhm.
is awesome. NBA 2K is awesome. And then MLB The Show is actually pretty good on the Switch also.
It's the weird part. Speaking of sports games, is that all three companies used to do sports. For first party, like Nintendo had NCAA football and Ken Griffey Jr. I don't think they had a hockey game or anything, but I know those two were the big ones. And Sega had,
NHL 94 on Genesis was pretty big.
but that was Sega. I'm talking about first
Oh,
party Sega
just
stuff.
you're talking about
Just the first party because Sega had the 2K games. They had Joe Montana. They had
Isn't that funny that
uh
EA had two football games running side by side for so long?
I still don't believe that.
I
I
know.
actually thought Sega did the Joe Montana games.
Yeah, I mean, I thought they did too, but like EA did them. I was shocked, shocked. And then there was NFL Quarterback Club, which was like, you're
I thought that was
What?
Was Quarterback Club EA? I thought that was
No, no, it was
dang.
like Iguana and like all those weird
Ah,
companies back then. I think it was Acclaim. I think Acclaim published it and what
okay.
and yeah, it was a weird thing. I had Quarterback Club for N64 though.
Oh,
That
nice.
was rough.
Let's see. Sony had
I mean, they did all those games used to be called the show, right? They used to have NBA the show, and
see, I thought the NBA one was different. I know MLB the show was Sony's.
yeah. Well,
Um,
they used to have the basketball one too, and then obviously Xbox launched with their own first party sports games.
yeah, what was theirs?
Well,
I know they
There
had one,
was
but
there was NBA Inside Drive, and then I forget what the NFL game was called, but it had Peyton Manning on the front.
okay.
Uh, NFL. Hold on, I gotta think of that. Man, who thought we were gonna talk about sports games?
Well, it's because the thing about it is that a lot of the first party companies have moved away, and the only first party game that's out, even though it's now multi platinum, is MLB the Show. Uh,
Yeah,
I should add, I could add Gran Turismo and Forza Motorsport.
yeah. I mean, those aren't sports games like traditional sports games, right? Those are just
They're like racing sims, so, so they're not yearly or anything. But from a first party, if we're looking at sports just in general from first party stance, Forza and Gran Turismo is from Sony and Microsoft.
mhm.
So at least Microsoft does have a sports title. It's just right now the Forza series. Mainly with Sony is MLB because Gran Turismo doesn't come out yearly as much, but it's still their racing sim. Where Nintendo is just like their sports games are now under the Mario banner, are very arcadey. So you got the Battle League, which is their soccer. You got Punch Out for their boxing. You got Mario Kart for their kid kind of racing game. Um, you got Super Sluggers, which is their baseball game, and then Mario Golf and Mario Tennis, and that's all Nintendo stuff. They kind of got out of it, so they could make these kind of sports games. Because and I think we covered it some earlier Nintendo Power Blocks for Game Fact events that Nintendo was invested definitely in Seattle. With the is it the Mariners?
Yeah.
Because it was King Griffey.
They sold their stake in the Mariners, though. I
Mhm.
thought so. Yeah, but King Griffey Jr. baseball for Super Nintendo, man.
Really, really good. That was the baseball game. If it wasn't that, it was Triple Play on Sega. I love Triple Play '96
No,
on Sega Genesis.
It was King Griffey Jr. Triple Play. I mean, Triple Play was there, right? But like that was for the
Yes.
people who didn't own a Super Nintendo, right? Like that. King Griffey Jr. baseball was it.
Well,
Also,
like.
World Series baseball was out also at the time,
Mhm.
but then they kind of shifted that to Game Gear, which I have 3 copies of for some reason.
Wait, huh? How?
Well, I have World Series baseball, and then I have World Series baseball
Uh-huh.
like '95, and then I have World Series baseball '90 whatever. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
and we now and definitely if we look at sports games from a third party perspective, uh, Konami had double dribble and their hockey game for the NES. Tecmo Bowl was a big thing for the NES. Uh, and then later on, if we look at the Super Nintendo Sega Genesis era, it was kind of like NBA Jam. That was like kind of the game. I mean, and then you had Bulls versus Blazers for the Sega Genesis. Actually, that was my first kind of base basketball game for the Genesis. Uh, and then there was is it Coach Ripley or something. What was the other
Oh,
one?
Pat Riley basketball.
Pat Riley basketball. Yes.
Yeah, I had it. It was like the yellow team and the red team and no
Yes.
NBA players.
That was my first basketball game that I ever beat in it. And then for me for my journey with sports games, Capcom had a football game for Super Nintendo. Um I played some of the sports games definitely on the Sega Genesis. Um my brother got Joe Montana 2 for Sega Genesis and for the Sega Master System, which was weird. I'm just like, and didn't know anything about double dipping or anything like that, but that's kind of happened. My f- it when I bought my PlayStation, or I got my PlayStation 1 for my birthday, In the Zone was the game that I got for it. And then I started buying my own PlayStation games when got a job and everything. But like the sports journey, definitely for Nintendo, has definitely been interesting. Um, where Sega Genesis was had like Mutant League football and I think Mutant League hockey and stuff. But it was kind of the the real stuff. If you wanted, you would go to the Sega Genesis. But then EA started bringing all of that stuff on the Super Nintendo, and I guess it didn't make EA feel greedy. It just made them feel like if you want sports games, EA was the business to go for those sports games.
Yeah, sorry, my son is crying.
Okay.
So he's wide awake. But anyways, that's why I'm trying to like unmute myself and stuff.
Mhm.
Also, the Browns had the ball back with a minute 46. Please don't lose. Jeez. All
So
we need a first down to clinch the game. Okay? That's if we can just move the ball 30 feet forward, we will win. Okay? That's all we need. 30 feet, 10 yards. Also, an offensive lineman at fullback. That's interesting move. But yeah, and then like obviously like Madden really started taking off in like the PS2 era and GameCube
mhm.
era, and yeah, it's just I don't know, man. Sports games, and then like you also had like NBA Street and FIFA Street and
Yes.
Wayne Gretzky's 3D Hockey, which was my second N64 game, and nobody else has probably ever heard of it. And then you got the weird stuff like NFL Blitz and NHL Hits and that kind of stuff. And
Ready to rumble.
oh man, Ready to Rumble boxing was awesome. If you wanted a game like Punch Out, and Punch Out hadn't come out since Super Nintendo, Ready to Rumble boxing on Dreamcast was awesome. I think it came to N64 also, but I had it on
Yeah, it
Dreamcast.
did. But Dreamcast was like the arcade one, which
Yeah.
is weird because when it comes to boxing, I played the original Mike Tyson Punch Out for Nintendo and surprised that they actually went with Mike Tyson for like arcade kind of sports game. But my brother had Rocky for the Sega Master System.
Oh my gosh, I had Rocky for Master System also.
I can never beat the last fight.
I
Uh
never I didn't really play it. I bought a Master System when I was like really hardcore collecting stuff, and then I
mhm.
was like, why do I own a Master System? I don't care about the Master System. Then I sold it, and somebody bought it off me and all the games for like $200, and I was like, sweet. But Rocky, man.
Yes, and then I believe um there was another boxing game on this on the Sega Genesis. The one who got his ear bit off. Uh
Evander Holyfield.
yeah, he had his own boxing game on the Sega Genesis. I remember that one uh for it. As for like golf games, all I can remember is golf until Tiger. There was PGA golf, but like no one
Right,
paid
but
attention.
nobody paid attention to PGA golf until Tiger Woods was on the cover, right? I mean,
Hmm.
there was like a 15-year stretch where Tiger Woods was sports, right? Like Tiger Woods was everywhere, and like
Hmm.
there was that, and then later on the 360, like Fight Night. Remember Fight Night Round Three, and
Yes,
like remember how amazing that game looked?
yes, yes.
That game was incredible, incredible looking. and like it played well and stuff. And then obviously like round 4 and champion came out, and they were very similar. But I remember Fight Night round 3 being a huge deal.
And did in the arcade you had that T game, that T golf game. I guess it was just like uh that ball. It was like a ball that you kind of like center and then you rolled out. Like that was the golf game because you would find it. I don't know why you couldn't find it in arcades, but it was always in a bar somewhere.
Oh yeah, it was right next to the Cabela's machine with the orange guns.
Yeah. I never and it made so much money, but and I just never understood that game never came to console at all. But I know it was the game for bars, like adult bars and stuff. Um,
Yes,
so
adult bars as opposed to the kids ones.
well, because kids, I mean, the adult bars because there were places like for kids, like not like Chuck E. Cheese or anything, but they kind of have those family fun centers and stuff that had some bars in it and everything, that kids could actually go up to and order stuff. Um, and it wasn't a concession stand with toys and prices. It wasn't that. It was like literally a bar that you could go up and be like, "Can I get a Sprite or something?" And they would do a Sprite tap and give it to the kids, and they would pay for it.
Right. Yeah. Update on the Browns game. The Browns are fighting for a first down with 36 seconds left. So guess we'll find out. His knee is down though. He might not have gotten it. His knee is down right there. Gross. So it's fourth down, 1 yard to go with 36 seconds left. Did they call timeout? I don't know if they did or not. Anyways, this is very riveting podcasting, but I'm leaving it in. It's fine. We'll get to the Patreon producers after this game is over because I can't not take my eyes off of this game now. But I mean, in terms of sports games now, like I still get NBA 2K on Switch every year.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good. I love it. I love that and golf. There's some cool golf games on Switch, and I think MLB The Show actually showed up pretty good on Switch this year.
Yeah.
Like I was actually shocked. FIFA also is very good on Switch. It's just the bad thing about FIFA is that it's the same game every year, except FIFA 23, the Switch version, is getting the Ted Lasso stuff, I think. So they're actually changing it up this year. Although they're just adding a team with some players. So, I mean, they still play. But I think that's really cool. That was a huge news thing this week, that FIFA was getting Ted Lasso DLC, or not DLC, but the team and the coach.
I've never watched that
Oh my
show.
gosh, dude. Like, so, okay. Everybody said that show was amazing and it was the best show on TV. And like, I had a really hard time believing them because you know how hyperbole works on the internet where everything is the best thing ever. And if you don't like it, you suck.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a free trial of Amazon or of Apple TV,
Apple.
and I had a 3 month thing because I got a new phone and I never redeemed it. So I redeemed it. Dude, I watched the first 2 seasons. Like, it took me less than 2 weeks to watch the first 2 seasons. It's probably one of my favorite shows on TV, and it's coming back in December or January. And you better believe I'll re up my Apple TV for that show. It's seriously one of the
It's
most positive shows on TV. Like, it's just a happy, positive show. And I think in a stretch of time where everybody has just been negative, whether it's like the pandemic or politics
mhm.
or world events, like this show is exactly, I think, what the world needed. Even if you're not into sports, this show is just
Yeah.
chef's kiss.
I remember there was a show on USA that dealt with this black guy. He was a sports not sports commentator, but he played football and he had a therapist with him. Uh and it was kind of like a drama show, and it was really good. I think it only lasted for 2 seasons, and then USA never canceled it. That's when USA was talking about had their motto was being the character or something, or characters welcome. That was their motto and stuff. So they would build shows around different characters and stuff. And I remember seeing it because the thing was like the football player and the therapist, were working together to like solve problems and get through stuff while while he being the star player and everything. And it was a really good show. Um, it's just that I don't know Ted Lasso. I think a lot of people like it, but I think it's just like not my cup of tea. Speaking of that, everybody, just so that you know, I'm not a big sports person. The only sports I really get into, and I'm going to be laughed at, is I love volleyball, and I love watching the cheerleading competitions and everything. And I watch the cheer and the pound competitions because of the choreography of the dancing and stuff. Um, I know none of the schools or anything, but like if I'm watching volleyball, if I see a good volley going on, I'm into that. If I see a good routine or a good like formation and stuff, I'm into that. If I literally watch football, baseball, or any kind of real life sport, I fall asleep. Now I can't watch the hockey because we have the Blackhawks, but I literally have to be at a restaurant with somebody watching the sports thing while we're talking, and food is coming going in my mouth.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair. I mean, look, I mean, there's nothing like watching sports and eating food, right? And most people drink when they watch sports. I don't because I don't really drink, but it's look, I told you I slammed almost an entire pizza and a bunch of wings. So,
Hmm.
you know. Oh my
So
gosh. Oh my gosh. There's 9 seconds left and the Steelers have the ball, but they have it on the 4-yard line. So, I'm really concerned. Very concerned, Ed. If the Browns blow this lead, I'm going to be very upset. If they lose today,
mhm. At the time of this recording, I should say.
yeah, I mean, yeah, people will know that the Browns will play 2 games by the time this has come out. But look, I'm either very very happy on this Thursday night or very very upset. My son is still upset. He's been up since 10:30. Can you believe that? Screaming his head off. So you can probably hear him in the background. Oh, scoop and score. Yeah, we actually scored another touchdown. They fumbled the ball and we got it.
Oh, congrats!
Well, I didn't do it.
Well, I'm talking about your team.
I know. 29-17. Sweet. Nice. Nice. That score looks a lot better on paper than the game was.
So it kind of makes up for Sunday's game.
Oh, I mean, yeah, we beat the Steelers, but
Well, when you're playing Madden Query, do you play as the Browns, or do you have, or is it the Browns, but you mix up the team with players
well, it
that
depends.
you want?
Well, usually, what I used to do when I had time and free time and
Hmm.
single and no job to worry about and stuff, I would actually do like 2 franchise modes. I would do one with the Browns, this just straight up with the players, and then what I would
Hmm.
do is I would do a fantasy draft with usually like the Bills or something because I also really like the Bills. I have for a while. Like everybody, I feel like everybody has like 2 teams that they really like. One is usually your hometown team, and one is usually like just a team that you like to root for. And I've always been a
Uh-huh.
Bills fan since like the '90s, with Jim Kelly and all those great players. But the run where they went to the Super Bowl 4 out of 5 years and lost every single one,
Oh
mostly
wow.
mostly to the Cowboys. Uh, but yeah, it was. I used to do fantasy drafts, and I like fantasy drafts, but also
Uh,
like it makes a lot of the teams like even in a way, but also it kind of like takes the fun out of taking a bad team and making them good. So I don't know. That's what I used to do with the Browns because the Browns are always bad, except for right now. So
See, when I played the 2K games, I always played as the Blazers. I don't know. It's just I think sports games now, and I know they're kind of advanced. And I know Nintendo themselves have moved away from it. Um, I guess it's just for me personally, I like to watch people play them than like me playing them and stuff. And I have MLB the show for Switch. I have golf. Um, I have I think Battle League I picked up. Like I have like the Switch sports games. Um, but I just need to get more into it and more committed to playing it and stuff. Because like for me, when definitely in the 16-bit days, it was the Royal Rumble games. Uh, from WWF at that time. They were WWE or anything. But then N64K and THQ was like the company for wrestling games. And I would just have a ball playing their games. Uh,
yeah, yeah. I didn't really get too much into wrestling. I don't. I mean, I knew a lot of people who were into wrestling and like played the wrestling games and stuff. I
mm.
never understood wrestling. Like I just never did. So
It it was a to me it was a thing for during the 80s and 90s as a kid and then even as a teen. Like it was the way that sometimes me and my best friend who used to live right by me, how we kind of bonded on Monday night because we watched Monday Night Raw and everything. And I had grew up before before I moved into the house that I'm currently living at. Um when we was in an apartment, we would watch it on Fox TV, not Fox News or anything, but it was like you know a midday program for with Hulk Hogan and stuff. And then sometimes when if they were showing it on Fox, they were showing it on Channel 5, so we would go and watch it there and stuff. Um, and I remember the goodness that Wayne Gretzky, Michael Jordan, and Bo Jackson cartoon
oh my
on Channel
gosh,
5.
yeah, I remember that too. Man, what a speaking of sports games and Bo Jackson. How have we not
Hmm.
brought up Tecmo Bowl?
I did say take one more for the Nintendo for Nintendo.
Yeah, but that was what we never spent any time on it, and how everybody always picked the Raiders because Bo Jackson, all you had to do was zigzag across the field and
Hmm.
you would score, right?
And he was just like gone.
Yeah, well, yeah, because it's Bo Jackson. But man, what a game that was. And then they tried to bring it back, and then it just didn't do what it was supposed to do. Did they,
Uh,
Tecmo Bowl's on the NES thing, right? On Switch Online, right?
art for the art. Yes, it is.
Yeah,
Um, and then they got the arcade version that you could buy. Um, the Sega Genesis version is not on there yet.
yeah.
Um, but I wasn't into the Sega Genesis. I think because of Joe Montana.
Well, that's enough of that sports ball talk. We should probably get on to our Patreon producer.
Yes, let's get those on Patreon.
So if you want to support this show, you can head on over to Patreon, patreon.com/Boss Rush Network, where you can support Nintendo Power Block Expansion Pass, among other shows, and get early access for just $1 a month. But if you subscribe at the $5 tier, you become a Patreon producer. What does that mean, Ed? It means that you get early access plus your name shouted out on this here segment
Ooh.
of this here program. So without further ado, our Patreon producers for this episode are Adriel Munger, Celeste Roberts, my wife, Sana Dirrig, Francisco Santillan, Rebecca Jewell, and Prince Unsmooth Toes. I want to thank everybody for listening, everybody for subscribing, every Patreon producer, every patron, and all of our free listeners. Remember, all of our content remains free, but we reward you with some perks if you are a Patreon producer or a Patreon subscriber. If you listen on free feeds, leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. If you are watching this video, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, tell your friends, ring the bell, get the notifications, all those things. Anyways, Ed, what were we originally going to talk about before I got caught up in the Browns almost losing again?
Well, we was gonna talk about delays.
Hmm.
We all know that Miyamoto's quote or Iwata's quote was like a bad game, a delayed game could be, good in the long run, but a bad game will always forever remain bad and stuff. And when we look at some of the current delayed games, Events Wars, 1 or 2, um, Metro Prime got delayed because it had to be rebooted from the beginning. Um, we was kind of talking about and we don't know a lot of Nintendo games that actually get delayed because for some of them they don't get. Of course, we know Zelda now, but for a lot of them we don't know when those projects get announced. What are they going to have a date or anything?
Yeah, but
Because they mostly don't get delayed.
I think with Nintendo games though, especially in the Switch era, they've been very very good about not announcing things until they're ready, right?
Hmm.
Especially release dates. I mean, Zelda's an anomaly, right? Because it's been I mean, even Zelda always had like a time frame, but it never had like a concrete date. I mean, this is the first concrete date we've gotten, right? It was just a generic
Yes.
2022 before and then obviously like Metroid Prime 4 got rebooted, and since they announced it that it got rebooted, they've stayed quiet. They haven't like shown it off, teased it, anything. And I mean, I have theories on that, but I mean, we can talk about that later or off air or whatever. But you know, I think that Nintendo has learned that, plus like their output is so incredibly high compared to other,
Yeah.
like other first parties are lucky to get 3 first party games out a year. I mean, look at Xbox. They haven't really had like a major first party game since Halo, really,
Hello. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's
Right. Because think what last year it was
well, it
Psychonauts
was
2.
Psychonauts technically first party, but was, whatever. It was Psychonauts. Well, even before that, they had Flight Simulator on Xbox, right?
Yes.
Even though that came out on PC like the year before, but they had Flight Simulator, Psychonauts to Forza Horizon 5 and Halo Infinite, right? And
Hmm.
I mean, gosh,
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about a lineup of first party games that are all great and all diverse and all awesome. I mean, Halo has its struggles keeping the audience, but initially Halo was awesome. Um, you can check out my review on bossrush.net for Halo Infinite if you want to find out more. Uh, but yeah, man, and even Sony this year is struggling, right? They had what Horizon, Gran Turismo, and God of War in November. Like
Yeah. And that's
Nintendo's
it.
putting out 3 first party games a quarter. It's insane.
Right. And
Uh,
then we got like the Kirby Battle game with the
mhm.
cake stuff, the dessert. Like we didn't even know about that. They just randomly announced it, be like, "Yeah, it's coming out in August." Wait,
Yeah,
what? You just dropped the Kirby game like 3 months ago.
yeah. And so, like, I mean, my thing is like, I don't think Nintendo delays games because they don't really announce them until they're ready, and then like when they come out, they're just ready to play, right? There's never
Hmm.
like the games get patched right away, and they get, these days, especially like you look at a game like Cyberpunk that came out, and it took what, almost 2 years for that game to be where it should have been at launch, right?
Yeah.
And you know, I enjoyed my time with Cyberpunk. I know a lot of people had a lot of issues and struggles with it. I thought it was a fine game. Like I played through it and I beat it and whatever, but like it was not the game that it should have been. And now it's like it's just now getting to that point where people are excited to play it. Plus they have that DLC coming out, and everybody loves the show that's on one of the 9,000
Netflix.
streaming networks. So, that game should have been delayed, but like Nintendo never has that problem.
It really doesn't. Um, I I guess it's just that I think that's why they say that when they feel like it's ready to show off, or it's in a good spot, they can show off most of the game. Because I think a lot of times when they showing a lot of these trailers, I feel like 95% of the game is done. And all we waiting for now they is for it to go. Like they'll give a date, but I think they're just tidying some more stuff up. They get it tidy, and then it's ready out the door. Because Xenoblade Chronicles 3 was supposed to come out in September. It was
Hmm.
supposed to be this month, but they pushed it up, and Splatoon came out instead. So it was just like, were both of those games ready to go?
Well, I
I
think
feel
it
like
started. I think it started with the Wii U, right? I mean, remember when we were doing the show in the early days, and the Wii U had like nothing coming out that last year, right? I
yes,
think what the biggest game was Mario Tennis Ultra Smash, and what maybe Paper Mario came out that year. I don't really remember a lot of what came out, but
hmm
that was like September, October, and then we had nothing until Zelda, and then at that
yes,
point it was like, well, Breath of the Wild's coming out on Switch, so now everybody associates it with Switch, and 3DS still had stuff coming out. Uh, but like, I mean, remember a lot of those games were originally being developed for the Wii U, right?
hmm
Mario
yeah,
Odyssey, I think Xenoblade Chronicles 2 at one point. There were a lot of Switch games that came out that were supposed to be Wii U games, and I think delaying those games actually gave Nintendo a chance to get ahead on a lot of things. And
yes,
I mean, I think that's why their output is so high, but also like remember they 3DS output was actually really high also, but they had two
yeah,
systems to juggle. And obviously, AAA development on a Wii U is a lot different than AAA development on a 3DS, uh,
yes,
in terms of power and quality and what the game needs to look like and resolution and all that stuff. So I actually think the combination of that, like, I mean, a lot of games got delayed, out of necessity because the Switch was coming out. Uh,
yeah,
I think Arms was actually being developed to use the Wii remotes.
for we,
I think it was a fully developed like the Wii Sports boxing game.
yeah,
But I mean, this is pure speculation. I could be totally wrong, and there's probably a story out there that says I'm wrong. But I think a lot of these games by necessity were delayed and allowed Nintendo to get ahead. Plus, obviously, working with second party studios and Koei
hmm
Tecmo has been a huge help on a lot of things, and between second party development, spin off games, and first party output, like Nintendo's been rolling this generation, and like I think another thing too is that it just keeps the Switch fresh. I still think of the Switch. I
yes.
still think of the Switch as a new console, and it's 6 years old. It's going to be six in March. So,
Yeah. And I know there was a report that PlayStation 5 has, I think in the UK, has like overtook Nintendo. Um, but I
well,
think it's because
units
people,
units sold, or
yes,
I mean, units sold per
yeah,
month. But like the PlayStation has sold about 20 million units, and the Switch has sold 120 million, and
hmm
so I mean, chances are a lot of people in the UK probably already that want a Switch already have one. you know.
yes,
Although I do see the
and
random person on Twitter post, I finally got a Switch 5 years after it came out or whatever.
it is kind of weird because I think people are getting the system like PlayStation to be ready for the future, and probably buying it so when they do their price increase, before they do the price increase,
Hmm.
people already have the system and everything.
Hmm.
But then you look at it and be like, oh, Splatoon 3 is still on the top of the UK charts. Like
Hmm.
it's very interesting to see.
Well, Splatoon is like this weird anomaly because I mean, it's like the Animal Crossing anomaly, right? Like it
hmm
sold in Japan alone. It sold almost 4 million units in 3 days in Japan alone,
And
and
and,
and we
and
know how
that,
popular it is here, right? I mean, it probably sold 5 or 6 million units in the first week, which is
and
insane.
that was And that was the thing. It was going to be an expansion pass that I was going to talk about. That we in America look forward to Metroid Dread. Um, but that took a while to get to 3 million. Where Japan, I mean, you got you for one game for one system, you got to 3.45. You got 1 million games per day between
Hmm.
physical and digital in 3 days. I've never seen a game, even Dragon Quest. I think back in the 80s and 90s didn't do numbers like that. That probably we didn't probably report, but I'm like 3 million just came from Japan alone.
Hmm.
So 3 days for what Metroid Dread should have had done. I mean, we were just glad that Metroid Dread just sold a million.
No, I think a
you
lot of
know,
people are just happy that Metroid Dread came out.
yes, that is
17
true.
years later.
Uh,
Uh,
but it was kind of gonna be like, I think, I know Japan is not more into the Metroid series, but they did help it. People did buy some copies to enjoy it, and it feels like Splatoon 3, as excited as people are, it's so well here, but I think it's just so many other games people put their focus on.
hmm.
So it's like it's very weird and everything, because like Japan is just like, yeah, we got Splatoon 3, we loved it, it's awesome. And here in America, for some people the reception has to be like, oh, there's more Splatoon, great.
Hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, look, I think as much as I love Iwata and the whole old regime at Nintendo, right?
Hmm.
The current regime is making some great moves and some great decisions. Uh, I wish they'd put out more pro controllers for games, but that's I'm
Yes,
still shocked we haven't gotten a Zelda or a Mario themed pro controller.
I have a feeling that's coming.
You think that you I think there's going to be I bet there's going to be a Switch, a Zelda Switch model. They're going to
Yeah.
do it big like Splatoon. Dude, if it has like those weird, like the weird Twilight Princess Joy Cons, like that design, not Twilight Princess,
Hmm.
but Twilight Princess inspired, whatever, from the logo
Yeah.
all over this thing, I will, I will kick a baby to get one.
Oh wow.
Not literally, but I would think about
I
it.
got- I'm actually shocked that no one has like custom designed their dock.
Oh, I'm sure they have.
Well,
You just go on
they probably
Etsy or
have.
something. But yeah, man, like, dude, if there's an OLED Zelda Switch, I'm gonna freak out. The thing's gonna be awesome.
Like, I kind of want. I don't know. Do I want a crystal clear one to show
No,
the
no,
green?
you know what would be awesome? Honestly, you know it'd be super cool. It would probably cost money, and they probably won't do it because they want to stick with the current design. But like, what if what if the Joy Cons themselves were like that clear black plastic that's on the Pro controllers, right? But but when you turn the
Yes.
system on, you saw the green glow inside. And then when you plugged it into your dock, the front of the dock lit up with that crying eye logo that's on the shield in the trailer.
Uh-huh.
But
Yeah.
it's that green color, and the dock was also the clear black.
$400 because of all of that.
I mean, the last two have been the Splatoon one was 359.
Yes.
I don't know if they would go for. I mean, maybe 400 and you get the game. That would be my guess.
Digital copy. A digital copy. Yeah, I could see that happening
But
because
man,
that would look, dude, that would look amazing. Like, people would literally pre-order that. Like, GameStop probably be making a buku bucks. So it'd be like, yeah, we got to get the pre-orders on this.
I mean, the
You
Splatoon
know?
one's still in stock on Amazon as of tonight. So, I mean, they must have made a lot of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, could you imagine that? How cool that would be? Oh, and like even the Switch's kind of casing, the black casing around the screen would be
Mhm.
that clear color. Uh, I would be really happy. That'd be so cool.
Uh, I would love to have like cool custom made docks and stuff. Something that doesn't go against Nintendo's warranty in case anything happens.
Hmm.
But like this white one, I still have not took my white Joy Cons are still on my OLED, and I have never taken them off nor really played. I mean, I took off my Switch OLED to play in handheld, but I just put it down and use the Pro controller still. Like I still haven't touched my right controllers.
Yeah, I have my white controllers. They're in the drawer, and I put them on one time, and I turned one around, and there's like a green marker smudge on it because I think my daughter like she didn't color on it, but she got it in her markers and whatever, and there's just
Hmm.
one little green smudge on the bottom. I'm like, ugh! So I put them away. I'm still using my launch blue ones that I got with my launch Switch. No
Ah,
Joy-Con drift though yet. Knock on this nasty fake wood and this whatever. But yeah, I'm shocked Nintendo. Like just because like Nintendo is always coming out with new colors and new things, right? Like they've always been
Yes.
like that. This has been like the plainest Nintendo generation. I mean, the Joy Cons, I guess, right? There's 8,000 Joy Cons, but like Pro controllers and you know custom consoles, and I mean there really haven't been that many. You know what? Let's see what custom what Switches have come out that have been related to games. The Mario
Uh,
Switch, right, was the Odyssey one was like kind of the first one, but it was just the red
yes.
Joy Cons, right? There was no Mario anything on the console, right? It was just those special red Joy Cons, right?
Yes. The Smash Brother one that
There
came
wasn't a
out.
Switch though. It was just the Pro controller.
I thought they did Smash.
Did they? Did they do a Smash one?
Yeah,
Oh,
I think so. Yeah, because I think the dock had the Smash logo on it. I thought they did.
I don't. Now I don't remember. I
Because
the
the
well, the Pro controller has the Smash logo on it.
right, but I thought, yeah, the dock did have it because it had like I think it had like the fighters on it. It had something on that dock. I remember.
Yeah, now
Because
now
I
that you say it, I kind of remember, but now I'm not. Okay, yeah, you're right. Here it is. It's the dock. The dock had like all the fighters on it, and the Joy Cons had
okay,
the Smash logo, like the cross logo on it.
and then we got the Splatoon one, but now we have the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet one
Yeah, there's been a
coming
bunch
out
of
later on this year.
bunch of Pokemon ones. The Animal Crossing one.
Yeah, the Animal Crossing one. Uh,
Look, if they don't do
and
a
that's
Zelda
about.
one, I'm gonna be upset.
I'm surprised they haven't did a Mario Kart one.
I mean,
Like, but that would be like Mario Kart 9, maybe.
maybe.
But that's for the future, probably.
Yeah, we'll
Uh,
we'll talk about that at a later date. Um,
Mario Kart 9, that is everybody.
mhm.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah, I guess I forgot about the Smash one. I just maybe I didn't care. Maybe I just I'm not getting another Switch. But dude, if there's a Zelda one and it's like if it's cool enough to get, like, like I mean, if it just looks like the Sheikah Slate or something, I'm not gonna get it. I don't care. I want it to look sleek. Like, okay, so the
Yes.
perfect example I think that I can think of is the Xbox 20th anniversary controller, right?
Hmm.
It's got it's got that clear black plastic on it. It looks super sleek and super clean, and then it's just got hints of green throughout it, right? And then like the
Yes.
man, I wouldn't have gotten it if I knew it had the rubberized grips on it because like I was really excited to get it, and then it has the rubber grips on it, and it like makes I'm like not severely allergic, but I'm kind of allergic to like certain rubbers and latex and stuff. So like
Hmm.
it's it makes my hands like real dry and like puff up and bleed. And like when I played basketball, like my hands would get really, really dry to the point where
Yes.
like I had to have the special moisturizer because if I didn't do it, my hands would bleed. Like my fingertips would dry up and
Ah.
bleed. Like that's how bad it was. So like I really avoid rubber grips on controllers as much as possible. uh so yeah, anyways, I also have a Switch Lite over here, which I don't know why I own a Switch Lite, but I do.
Because you wanted it because you was going to Florida and
I know.
you
I know.
wanted to take it.
My
So,
the thing is
uh,
like the Switch Lite is so cool, except I hate that it has white buttons. I hate the white buttons because they get so dirty so easily.
yeah,
Like every time I use it, I wash my hands before I use it first because like one time I didn't, and like I'm not a dirty person by any stretch of the imagination, but like I got a little bit of water on my hand and then it left a little like dirt mark on it. I'm like, this is gross.
yes.
And so, yeah, anyways, that's my story. This has been a really random episode. What's going on? Talk about
Well, I
sports
think,
games, consoles, things.
well, I think it's just a natural conversation. I think with the sports games, it's just like, man, like thinking, like think of what Nintendo Switch would be if Nintendo themselves did have licensed sports games on the Switch. You
Yeah.
know, what if Ken Griffey, what if they brought that back? What if they actually went back,
Oh my
had
gosh.
NCAA? Like, what if Nintendo actually created a second party sports studio?
I mean, that'd be cool, I guess. They have the studio that does Mario Golf and Mario Tennis and stuff, and they could do like that.
Hmm.
They could do like they had that weird basketball game on 3DS that also had Final Fantasy VII characters in it for some reason. Do you
Yeah.
remember that 3-on-3 hoops or whatever?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Mario game. Yeah.
gross. Uh, yeah, I mean, I would play arcadey sports games. I've actually been looking at Mario Strikers on the eShop for a little bit, but
Mhm.
uh, it's gonna have to wait with a bunch of because there's a ton of we're hitting that October stretch where there's just a
Oh,
lot of
good,
games.
good.
Plus, like I'm like inching more and more towards Deofield Chronicle because the more and more I watch it, the more and more I'm like, man, I really want to play this.
Hmm.
And then like uh Life is Strange comes out soon, which I really want to play because I played the first chapter of the first game when it
Yeah.
came out because it was free. Like uh I think the first chapter was free for a while. And so
Yes.
I played it. My wife and I actually played it. It's on a YouTube channel somewhere. I don't know if it's the Nerds Gone Rogue one or the DNA one or something, but we played it. It's somewhere. Uh, but Ed's changing headphones.
Oh,
What's wrong, Ed? There he
1 second.
goes. He's talking to himself. But we played it and I liked it, but I wasn't gonna spend $60 on the rest of the game. You know, I'd had other games I wanted to
Ah.
play, and just trying to do other things. So I want to play that, and obviously Nier is coming, and Persona, and Mario Rabbids, and
Hmm.
uh, oh, what was the other? Oh, Final Fantasy Crisis Core is coming out, which I really want to play. And then on top of that, like I'm actually convinced myself that I think I want to get a PlayStation 5, and so like God of War and Horizon and Final Fantasy remake and uh I so here's the thing. I'm gonna ask for one for Christmas, and if I don't get it for Christmas, then I'm gonna wait. But that's the plan because I'm a jerk. But yeah, I
Ah.
mean, there's so much coming out, and it's just like, man, this it's not stopping, And then January we got Fire Emblem, and February we got Octopath Traveler 2, and something else, and then Zelda in May. Like, it's not slowing down. Bayonetta 3 in October too. That was the other game I forgot that was in October.
And then yeah, I just got done watching the Nintendo Direct.
Again?
Yeah. So, um,
Um,
but Corey, I think that's gonna be it for the show.
why? You done talking to me, Ed?
No,
I see how it is. No, it's fine. It's cool.
no, it's we have so much to discuss uh for future shows, everybody. Um, but I think we could wrap it up here because I think next time we talk, we're going to have a longer discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because I think it's time for some theories, but not for Zelda. Theories for Metroid. Like,
Yeah, I have some theories of my own um, that I think I'm ready to talk about in a real kind of researched way instead of just like a well, Zelda is coming out because Zelda is Zelda, and Zelda is gonna Zelda all the way to the Zelda place. Like
mhm,
I want I have things to say. So
yes. So, sorry about that, everybody. So I think yeah, let's wrap it up there because when we come back with the next episode, we're gonna have a really big discussion about what is Metroid Prime 4 going to be. And I know we kind of talked a little bit about it, but I kind of want to, and I wish you would finish Metroid Dread because that's a longer conversation. But I
I know.
really
Look,
want to
it's
know
on my
that.
list. As soon as I finish Link's Awakening, which hopefully I'll do this weekend, Metroid Dread is next, I think.
Yeah, yeah. The possibility that for Metroid Prime 4, and I don't know, maybe it's time for Mother Brain to come back.
Uh-oh.
We'll discuss it next time on Nintendo Special Fast. But Corey, where can we find you?
You can find me at I am Corey Nietzsche on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me on the Boss Rush Podcast, Nintendo Power Block, and more.
Yes, and you guys can find me on Twitter at that retro code and on Instagram at that retro code. Check out Nintendo Pop Block and Expression Pass. Hit us up in the Discord and we'll check it out. And hopefully you guys will let us know. But with that, everybody, have a great week, have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time on Nintendo Expression Pass. Bye, everybody.
Bye.